site this next week. Probably we'll get it up there so that if you forget anything or you want to watch it again, you can certainly go back to our website and see that again later, and just get refreshed on what we talked about. Okay. All right, great. So let's dive into this here now. Before maybe we get into the checkbook window, there's a feature that we've recently added into QFloors that I'd like to show to you, that some people know about, but not everybody does.
Trent, go ahead and hit the record button.
I think I did. It is recording, I think. Yeah, it's recording. So if you look at the payments, sorry, not the payments window, but in the sales order screen, if you, we've always had this question from people, how do I quickly, or how do my salespeople quickly find a cost on a product and or what to sell it for? Okay, and the way to do that is by using this this feature here where you can double click on the sales order and it brings up this little screen right here, and so most of you should recognize this as our product search window. Down here at the bottom, it's always given you the cut and roll cost and then the retail price right here. Well, we've added some more features here which allows you to change the
Trent, you're not showing your screen.
I'm not showing my screen. Okay. Hold on.
You're going to want to, let's start all over. Show your screen.
Okay.
There we go. I can see it now.
All right. Sorry. Okay. All right. So let me start over again here. Before I dive into the checkbook and reports and stuff, I wanted to show you a new feature that we've just added in the last month or so, that a lot of people have been asking for, and that we've been able to do for certain people that have had the beta versions. But now if you get on your new version of QFloors, you should see these features. So when you double click on the style field here, you'll notice the product search window comes up. I believe you can also get there by doing Control F6. That's the hotkey to bring up this catalog search. But if you're looking for a specific product, a price on a specific product, you can then search that product here, right? So you can look at maybe Mohawk, and then let's just say Lansing, and let's look at a specific color. Okay, so when you do a search in the catalog for this, it'll bring up now the cut, roll price, and retail price, which it always did before. But we've added some of these features like this drop-down list of retail price formulas that allows you to see what the different markups would be for the different levels of pricing that you have in your already programmed in your system. Okay, it also will tell you whether or not you have the sample in or out if you're using that feature in the product catalog. It will show you your stock availability, if anything is on order, and what is the physical balance that you have in your warehouse of that product, right? So it shows that all to you right there. And so this should give you a really good overview of that specific product, so you have all the information you need to tell your customer, yep, I can do it for this price, yes, we have it in stock, or no, but we have some on order and should be here by the time you need it. That type of information can be quickly seen right on this screen here. Okay, so that's a nice feature we've added recently. All right, let's go into the checkbook window here and look at a few features that not everyone maybe knows about, that you need to know if you want to save some time on some things. One of the features is that if you have a description you put a description into the payment window, and maybe I'll just do one of those right here. And if I say, maybe put in a check number of 656, right, and check type, and we went to $230, okay, and we add this payment. If we also are posting multiple payments to multiple invoices, we showed you in another intermediate training how to do that through the all sales screen, which you get to from here, clicking on all sales, and you can apply a check to multiple invoices at the same time. And that's where this typically would come into play. I'm going to put in 2 of these just to show you, just on this one thing, to show you how the feature works in the checkbook window. Okay, so I put in a couple payments here with the same description on them, right? And so if I come back to my checkbook window now and refresh my deposit screen, okay, you can see those 2 down here. And so if I hold down my shift key while selecting one of them, it will tell you, hey, QFloors found multiple sales order payments from the same check. Should QFloors automatically select the other payments from the same check? And you hit yes, and all of those things will then come into your items to be deposited, okay, your new deposit. So like I said before, this is typically used with builders, apartment complex jobs where you've got maybe one check that's paying 20 invoices off, or 15 invoices, or multiple invoices off. You use that all sales feature in the payment window to record the payments against all of those jobs. All right, they would be listed here. And if you put that one description right here, and it will record that description against each of those payments, and then you can just grab all of those payments in your items to be deposited list quickly without having to try to find them. Okay. Anyway, so that's one feature that we've added there for people that have a lot of transactions. Another one is, I'll just save that. On your reconciliation screen in the checkbook window, this is a feature that I want to point out to those of you that have larger businesses. And when I say larger, what I mean is a business that might have 200 to 300 or more transactions, bank transactions each month. I would recommend you use this feature here, okay? What it does is it allows you to export a file from your bank, like a history file of transactions from your bank. It's like getting a digital file of your bank statement. Okay, so you export that from your bank, you put it into the right format that QFloors has, and the first time you do it, it takes a little longer because you're having to use some formulas in Excel or in a spreadsheet program to get it in the right format. But make notes of what you did to get it in the right format, and then every time you do it, it's very easy. Or you can just run a macro in the spreadsheet, if you know what those are, to change your list each month that you import this. You just run that macro and it will get it in the right format for you. But then what you do is you take that formatted CSV file and you'll click here on CSV Clear, and you'll go find that file that you downloaded and you'll click on it, hit open, and what it will do, and I don't have one to show you live because this is a demo database, but what it will do is show you on one column your bank transactions and on another column QFloors transactions. And what it does is it will allow you to automatically check off your reconciliation screen all of the transactions that match, the bank transactions that match the QFloors transactions. So you know, it'll quickly match up all the ones that you know, match each other, and put X's in the boxes of all of those. Okay, and anything that doesn't match at the end, it will print a report at the end. So if you have bank transactions that didn't match up with a QFloors transaction, you'll have a list of those, and then you can, you know, create the transactions in QFloors you need to match up to those. Okay, you'll also have a list of QFloors transactions in that time period that didn't match up with a bank, and sometimes it's just check numbers that are off a little bit, but if the amount doesn't match, it won't check it off automatically, and it will. But then you can go into QFloors and edit things, and then click off the rest of the ones that didn't match up, and your reconciliation should be done by then. So it's a quicker way to get all those things checked, and it eliminates a lot of human error in that way too. You know, things you check that you shouldn't have checked, and vice versa. Okay, so that's CSV reconciliation. The other thing in the checkbook window that I wanted to make sure everyone knew about is you can do quick checks in QFloors. Most of the checks that you create in your checkbook window come from the bill screen. You enter a bill, that all of those bill payments come into this check window, as you know, down here at the bottom, and then you create your checks from here. That's the normal way of doing things. But you can also do a quick check, which is a check that you produce right on the checkbook window that is not created in the bill screen first. And it's an easy thing to do. You just hit the new button up here. You can put in a date. You can put in, you know, your vendor here. I probably want to do one like insurance. By the way, this is the best way to add things that were, when you're doing your reconciliations and you find things on your reconcile that automatically were deducted from your bank that you didn't create a check for, and this happens a lot. Those types of transactions you can just quickly create a quick check for right on your checkbook window without going in, creating a bill, all of that stuff, right? So let's say we had an insurance deduction come automatically out of our bank account that month, and it was $245. I could just put that right in here, assign it to my account that I want it to be posted to. I would hit non-check item because it was a automatic deduction, and then hit save. Okay. So, and then it'll put it in there as a check in my register, and of course then it's on my reconciliation screen to be able to be checked off also. Okay. So that's a quick check. The one caveat to the quick check is you can only choose one general ledger account. Okay. We don't allow a split or multiple accounts to be chosen there. If you need to split the transaction between multiple accounts, then you need to enter it in the bill screen first. Okay, you just create it like a normal check. All right, so that's the quick check feature. We also use the quick check feature to transfer money between bank accounts or between credit card accounts and bank accounts. Okay, so for example, let's say that we want to create a payment to transfer a payment from our checking account to our credit card account. We're going to use the quick check feature to do that. we hit new, put in the date there, and let's say that this, our credit card account, I don't know if I have one here. I'll just use this one, capital factors. Let's say that's our credit card account, and we want to pay off $5,000 towards our credit card account. Okay, so then we're just going to choose our credit card account, which is going to, all your credit card accounts, by the way, are going to be at the very bottom of your list. Other bank accounts, like a savings account, if you had a savings account, that would be at the top. Okay, so if you're transferring between bank accounts, those accounts will be at the top. If you're transferring between credit card accounts, those will be at the bottom. Okay, so I want to create a payment to my credit card, and I save that right there. And now that shows as a check coming out of my bank account on this side, and then on my credit card account, it will show as a deposit. Okay, and of course you would have all of your transactions for the statement, the credit card statement for the month that would be part of that also, and usually your credit card amount never is positive, it's always negative or zero. Okay. All right, so that's quick checks and transfers and other things you can do in the checkbook account. Okay. All right. That's probably, do we have any questions about checkbook? Anything there that anyone's typed? Okay. All right, let's go to reports here. What some of the features that we've added recently for reports. One of them that I want to show you is in the reports window, contract labor. I don't know, it's probably been a year or so ago that we added this, but larger companies will use this a lot. Normally in QFloors, you have a list of installers here that you click on each one and finalize them one at a time, right? If you have a long list of installers, a big list that you're going to pay, we've added these features down here to pre-print all and to finalize all. Okay, so before you ever finalize all, what that means is that it's going to look at every installer on your list, and it's going to finalize their contract labor report for all of those installers at one time. Okay, no other clicks need to be done. So that can help you get this done quickly. I would highly recommend, though, that you pre-print all before you finalize all, just to make sure you don't have typos in there, that you don't have jobs in there that you don't want to pay them for, things like that. So pre-print all. You can even pre-print it to a PDF and just scroll down, make sure it passes the smell test, give it the eyeball test, make sure it's all looking good. Then you can hit finalize all, and it'll do all the reports at one time. Okay. All right, let's have a question. Go ahead and read it, Aaron.
Is there a way to set it up so that when QFloors is closed, it automatically goes back to a particular account on the checkbook window?
So the question was, is there a way to set it up so that on the checkbook window it goes back to a specific bank account? I think is what they're saying, right? Whatever account you are in when you exit QFloors, that will be the account that it comes into when you come back in. Okay, so it just brings you back to that whatever account you were in when you logged out. Okay, so that's the answer to that. So you can't make it, there is no way to make one specific account the default account. That would be the answer, right? Okay. All right. One of the other reports that's important to know about as a manager or an owner is the let's see, go to the reports window here, is this change log. Okay, the change log is a report window that allows you to find out who did what and when to the sales orders and the material screen. Okay, many customers call us and say, hey, something weird is happening with my sales orders. Somebody's doing something crazy with them. Can I find out how that happened? And the answer is yes. You can do that through the log, the change log report. If you wanted to see what the life of a particular sales order was, how did it start, who did what, when did they do it, you can come in here, type in a sales order number, or you can also search by materials or leads, and then you can come into the date range here, and I'm going to do a very big range because we've got some old stuff in here. Okay, and so you can see what happened with this invoice and when. All right, so Michael Hayes is the one that started it and added the lines to it, and then of course we have our override employee, that's me. Because I did the override, it doesn't have the employee listed, but obviously whoever was logged into the system to make these other changes, it will show you what they did. Okay, and here's where it tells you what happened. So log report, very important if you want to look at some of those things. Okay, let's have some questions.
Can you see logs for bills?
Bills, we do not have logs for bills. No, I'm sorry. We didn't program it originally that way. One of the reasons for that is we have kind of decided that if you're giving someone access to the bill screen, that it's someone that is in the back office, higher level position, someone you trust, that type of thing. And so we didn't think we needed it. Okay, anything else? Okay. All right. Okay. Let's look at some of these year-end reports that we have. One of them I wanted to show you is the employee sub pay total screen. This is where you go to print your 1099s. Okay. And if you're still doing internal payroll in QFloors, this is where you go to print your 941s and your W-2s, obviously. Okay. So to print the vendor 1099s, you're going to print your vendor 1099s different or separate from your contractor 1099s. Okay. First, let's try the vendor 1099s. And let me just review this with you. Just to also important note, this year the IRS has changed the 1099 forms. Most of you should have received, well, all of you should have received a notice on this from the IRS, but I just want to remind everyone that you need to make sure you get the 1099 NEC, okay, not the 1099 miscellaneous. That's a new change this year, that you have to get the new form, a different form, and we've programmed QFloors to print out on this new 1099 NEC form. Okay, so right here it's just warning you that on printing vendor 1099s from QFloors, you can activate this feature by entering the tax ID numbers on the vendor setup screen. Okay, so in your vendor setups, there is an account number there, or a tax ID number that you need to fill in. Okay, QFloors will then search for bills from the bills credit screen that correspond to each vendor tax ID and the date range that you enter in right here. Okay, if any bills are found, a 1099 will be printed for that vendor. Okay, in my demo here, we don't have any of those vendors in there, but it would tell you how many vendors have tax IDs in their setup screen, so that you would know, okay, I'm expecting to pay 20 vendors and I only have 15 that have numbers in there, so I better go in and put those numbers in before I print my 1099s. Okay, so then you just hit yes, and then you would load your forms, and it will have some prompts for you to print. Okay, after this button. All right, there's your print option. Okay, so on the 1099s for your subcontractors, you're going to go to the contractor screen, print 1099. You must select one or more employees before printing. If we put in, you're going to only want to do this for the year 2020, obviously for this last year, but I'm going to go back in time so you can kind of see this happen. So I'm going to do a 20-year period, which you would never do normally, but you'll have a list of all of your installers right there. And in order for the 1099s to print, you do have to highlight each line. It's just a left click, okay, on each one, but they do have to be highlighted white here in order for them to print out on a 1099 form. If you don't highlight, they won't print, okay? One of the things that is important to note, if you just started QFloors this last year and started in the middle of the year sometime, if you put in year-to-date amounts over in your employee subscreen, I'll just kind of flip over to there, you know that on your setups for your employees, you could put in year-to-date amount for the old system, okay? This is what what is intended for you to put in. If you were using QuickBooks, let's say up through March of 2020, you should enter into here what you paid your installer through March through the QuickBooks system, and then put that number right here. If you do that, it will add that amount to your the rest of the amounts that are on his list, the list right here for each installer. You will, on the window here, it's important to remember you're only going to see the amounts that you paid this installer from QFloors. You will not see the year-to-date amounts added into this number. The year-to-date amounts will be added to this amount when you print the 1099. So if you do have something in the year-to-date amount, it's going to come out on the 1099. It won't be displayed here. Okay. If you want to print your 1099s from here and you stopped paying an installer and you don't have a bill in QFloors for a particular installer, you will have to enter a bill of some sort. But even if you create a zero amount check for an installer, if they have a year-to-date amount that you want to print out on a 1099, then you will have to create a zero check for them in order for them to show up here. It will show up as a zero amount, but if you highlight them, print a 1099, it will add the year-to-date amount onto the printed 1099. Okay, so that's 1099 printing. Everybody runs into that at the end of each year and needs to know how to do those. All right, any questions? Okay, let's go to QReporter. QReporter is one thing I would say about QReporter is you should never feel like, I wish I could get that report, or I wish I could get that number out of QFloors. That should never happen with QReporter if you use it in conjunction with QFloors. Okay, we can produce almost any report or generate any number that you can think of as long as we are capturing that information in the database. We can usually extract it somehow and present it to you in a report. So if you're ever feeling like QFloors is just light on reports, yeah, we might be light on reports in just the QFloors system itself, but we can have as many reports in any way that you want to see them using QReporter. Okay, so that's kind of my plug for QReporter. Please don't get frustrated about reports. Should never have that problem. One of the things that we want to make sure you're remembering to do, it's a feature we added a year or so ago, but we want you to always, when you're launching QReporter for purposes of printing an invoice, okay, I don't know if I have any emails in here. And let me just put one in here. You now have my email address. That's me. And I don't know if it's going to be set up or not, but you can hit Control Q to launch QReporter. Okay. So Control Q will get you there. I should have hit save. And I'm going to click on, I want to print this invoice right here. Okay. And let me just save. Come back to QReporter. So I'm going to enter this invoice number in here, number 1. And if I had it set up correctly in here, you would see the invoice number 1, and you could then click on email, and that whatever email address is in that sales order would be the to address. Okay. I don't have QReporter set up with email in my demo here, but that's how it will happen, and Control Q gets you there in the right way and to get that email address there. Okay. You can also program your print button, and we should have done this with most of you that have had QFloors for even a little bit. Program the sales order print button to automatically pop up the correct, or at least your default invoice that you want to send out. Okay. All right. I wanted to make sure also that everyone knew that we have a QReporter library on our website. So in QFloors.com, log in to our website here, and right in this place you can see a QReporter library. Okay, and we have them separated between standard and then the foreign countries of California and Canada. All right, so if you look at this list, you can see all the different kinds of reports that are not included on your default QReporter list. Okay, so if you look at QReporter, these are the reports that come with QReporter automatically. You get those all ready to go. Okay. Maybe I just might point out a few. There's a job profitability report that's very informative, job by job with subtotals by sales rep and by locations. Okay. There's also a profit and loss comparison report that will give you a side-by-side view of a P&L compared to, you know, this year versus last year, or this month this year versus that same month last year, right? You can do those types of comparisons using that, which a lot of people like to use. And you can also export any of these reports into a CSV file or directly into an Excel file that's already formatted for you. Okay, so these reports can be exported like any QFloors report in any of the list windows. In addition to those reports that come with QReporter, we have this library that allows you to see all of these different kinds of reports. Okay, we have them listed here, right? These are ones that we've created for other people, other stores, and we thought it would be useful for everybody, so we put it in our library here. And you can download those directly into your own database and use those reports yourself. If any of these reports or the reports that come with QReporter are not meeting your needs, please contact support. We can develop, like I said before, any kind of report that you would like. The reports that we do create custom for you, we do charge for those, but most of those reports are between $50 and $300, one-time fee, and then you have that report for forever. We don't charge you any extra for it. Okay, so you can always get those reports. Yes.
Yeah, there's a few questions.
Okay.
For the subcontractors 1099, do you have to enter a year-to-date from an old system, or can you just give your accountant information from both accounting systems?
Yeah, so the question was, if you have information from a previous accounting system for your first year in QFloors, do you need to put that information into QFloors, or can you just give your accountant the totals from both systems? And the answer is, please just give the accountant the totals from both systems and let them do it. Right? So if you don't have to print 1099s out of QFloors and you have someone else that's doing that for you, or you have an online way of doing it, whatever it is, please use that, and it'll be easier for you to do. So, okay, is that it? No?
One more. So how do you get the print button program to print the default report template if it hasn't been done?
Oh, okay, yeah, let me show you that. So the print default for a sales order, and it doesn't even have to be for a sales order, but that's the one that's most widely used. If you come down to reports here, and then QReporter, in this menu right here are different print buttons throughout QFloors. So this would be the print button for the bill list, the check register, employee list, etc. The one that is related to this print button for the sales order is this sales detail report. Okay, so you would click on that, and then you would choose from your list of invoices here which one of those you would like to have be your default. Okay, and so let's say that this one is the one that we want to be the default. We've looked at them all and seen the how they're done, how they look, how they're formatted. That's the one we want. So then we hit Save Setting right here. Okay, so now when we hit print here, it's just going to immediately launch into that particular default invoice. Okay, so that's how it's done. And so you want to do that. This is, by the way, this is customizable for every user on QFloors. So if one person in your system wants to have one default and other people want to have different defaults as their default, they can it can be programmed per user on their while they're logged into the system. Okay, so that's QReporter. Okay, all right. Let's talk about payroll importing. We're going to kind of get into some of the accounting reports now. I've skipped over some of these reports just because most of them are basics, and some of them are these financial reports, okay, that might not be for everybody. But we do have AR aging, AP aging, and then all of the financial reports that you need right here.
Right, can I break in for just 1 second?
Yeah.
There was a couple of other questions that are kind of that we probably should answer before you go on to that.
Okay.
So one is, somebody said a lot of custom reports have disappeared off of our website. We're continually cleaning up that QReporter website. So if there's a specific report that you're looking for or isn't there anymore, contact our reports department. We have a full department of programmers that just work on that QReporter stuff. So if there's something you're missing or wanting or that was there before that you think should still be there, go ahead and call our support department. They'd be glad to help you. We've got people waiting to help you out with that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we have a library of reports and a lot of them aren't even on our menu here, right? By the way, I forgot to show you that you've got different sections here. So I was only showing you the sales orders, but we have a set of work orders, labor reports, materials, job profitability, etc. Okay, so they're all kind of sectioned out there into different types.
And also, there was a question back where you were printing the contract labor, the sales tax. Somebody's asking about pre-printing or exporting those reports. If you just hold down on the Shift key and hit the pre-print button, then you should be able to export that.
That one was the
Cancel.
cancel.
Hold down Shift. There you go.
Okay, so it does work on the preprint single, but not the preprint all, Chad. So
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, very good. Thank you. One of the other things I forgot to mention is any of your list windows are report windows. Okay, and so remember, you can always, and we've covered this in other webinars and other trainings, but just to reiterate, because this is something that I still get questions on all the time. You can customize your list windows on any of the list windows by holding down your Shift key, left click, and including any of these columns that you would like to on your report. Okay, and then also you can hold down the Shift key and hit print, and it will allow you to export everything on this list window into a CSV file, into a spreadsheet, so that you can further manipulate and sort and do whatever you want with any of those report numbers. Okay, so there's that. Really, to tell you the truth, that's some of the custom report generation that you can do yourselves to a large extent. Many people don't even know. Some people call and ask us for a custom report in QReporter, not knowing that, oh, I can generate that report myself just by adding columns, exporting into a spreadsheet, and totaling it up. Now, if you don't want to, if you're not good with spreadsheets and you don't want to do the totals, you want us to create it, QReporter report, that's great. We also have that available that allows that to happen. Okay. Anything else, Chad? Any other questions there?
I think we can move on. Oh wait, there is a question.
Okay.
So is there a report that shows closing rate of sales by salesperson?
Yeah, so the question is there a report that shows the closing rate by salesperson? And there is. If you go to reports under lead stats, okay, let's just run this so you can see. Okay, so the closing ratios, of course, you need to compare what a salesperson's total number of leads or potential customers with the customers that they've actually closed, right? And the lead stats report is what gives you that. It gives you how many sales were won versus how many were lost. It also tells you the current number of leads, and it gives you totals there too. Okay, so you can look at how many jobs or leads a particular person has received, a salesperson has received, versus how many they've actually closed using this report. Okay, of course, in order for this report to be meaningful at all, you have to be religious in using the lead screen. Okay, so that's that. Now, if you're not using the lead screen, maybe you want to see a close ratio by comparing someone's proposals, a sales rep's proposals created versus which ones of those proposals have turned into sales. Okay, for a report like that, we would create a QReporter report for that. Okay, that would have to be QReporter.
Okay. Do you have a cheat sheet with the shortcut keys list?
Cheat sheet with shortcut keys, Chad. Can you help me with that? I'm sure there's a place.
There is one out on our knowledge base. I'll find it and post it.
Okay, so we'll post that in the notes here in a second. Okay. All right. Let's look at payroll reports.
There's one more, Trent. There's one more question.
One more question. Okay. Well,
With the W-2 employees I've entered in a year-to-date total, will I need to give my accountant the figures from my previous system, or will that total be included in the QFloors W-2?
So the question was about the year-to-dates for W-2 employees. If you've entered year-to-date amounts here, then they will come out on the W-2 report. If you're going to print your W-2s from QFloors, okay? If you're going to have someone else print your W-2s, or some system outside of QFloors print W-2s, you don't need to enter year-to-date amounts in there. If you can, if you want, but and it will print out, but it'll print out in a W-2 format. And I think it's just easier to print a report from your old system with whatever you paid them through the old system, plus whatever you paid them through QFloors, and just give your accountant or whoever's generating the W-2s, give them those two reports and add them up and pay them that way. Okay. All right. All right. So one of the things you can do with QFloors now is you can import payroll bills. We do have. This is working with a payroll service company out there called patriotsoftware.com. And it is available, and it can happen. You come to the employee subscreen, hit import payroll, and that file that you so the process for doing this is you do your payroll in their website, and then you export a payroll summary file in the IIF format. Okay, a lot of payroll companies have this format because it's the same format that QuickBooks users use. So we've just created the ability to import using that same file format into QFloors. Okay, we're trying to make it as easy as possible to use a third-party payroll service, because that's really what we recommend. Okay, and that's how you import. We have the ability in the general journal entry screen to, and we're getting in now to some of the accounting reports and some of the accounting things that you do at month end, quarter end, year end type things. One of the things you can do if you have a journal entry that you've entered in the system is you can duplicate a journal entry. Okay, just to give you a quick idea on how that happens, you create let's say you want to create your depreciation entry for the end of the year. Okay, and so I'm going to create a new journal entry. Comes to the account here. I'm going to do depreciation expense, and I've got 1152.45 as my depreciation for that month or for the year or whatever. And then I do accumulated depreciation. Let's see, I'll just do this right here, and negative 1152.45. Okay, so if this is like a monthly amount that you want to have happen every month, you can find this entry, right? If I do last year, I can see there's my entry right there. I find it, click on it, it's now showing up over here. I can then duplicate it, and let's say we want to do that for 01/31/21, right? Okay, and then we save that, and so now I've just created a duplicate, and there it is right there at the end of July, or sorry, the end of January. Okay, and so you can duplicate journal entries that way. You can also reverse journal entries. Talk to me if you want to get into doing that, but essentially what it does is it reverses that entry that you made at the end of the month on the first day of the next month. This is only used when you are doing things like work in process journal entries, okay, things like that. And so I won't get into too much detail there. End of period procedures, you want to do all of those before you create your accounting reports. We have documents on our website about period ending procedures and how you do those things. Just so happens it's the end of a year. So let me reiterate again and how important it is to do those period ending procedures before you close out your year and before you close your journal entry. Okay. Those documents are found on our website. Okay. Remember, closing your journal is found under File, Close Period. Make sure that you close at least once a year. Should be before you send your financial statements to your accountant to do the tax return, you should close to lock in those numbers. Okay, it's the closing procedure is nothing more than just putting in. Maybe I'll just do a 19 here, just putting in a date like that. Close the ledger now, and it goes through, checks a bunch of stuff, and it'll say it was closed successfully if you did it right. When you close the journal, what that does is just locks the system for people trying to enter or change information prior to this date. Okay, and it will warn them that, hey, you can't do this because the journal is closed. Again, do this at least once a year, but I would also say, just to add to that, anytime you send your financial statements out to a bank, to mills, for credit lines, for any purposes like that, trying to get a loan, make sure you close your journal up through the date that you send that statement out to, so that those numbers don't change. Banks don't like it when your balance sheet changes. Okay, I'll just say it that way. And your CPA doesn't like those numbers to change the next year they go to do your tax return and your beginning balances are all messed up. Okay, so make sure you do that close period. All right. The last thing that I wanted to just mention today is about general ledger conversions for accounting purposes. A general ledger what we call it GL conversion. Some people like to call it just a beginning balance entries. We do that when you're coming from a different accounting system and you start QFloors. We recommend you start on one day and then get your ending balances from your old system, and a couple weeks, a couple months, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get the ending balances good from your old system. Once you have those good and they're right, we have you print out a trial balance, and you can do this yourself or you can have us do it. If you have us do it, we do charge you some money for accounting services, but you can do it yourself. You print out your ending balances from your old system, and then you do a journal entry. You compare that old system balance sheet or trial balance with QFloors trial balance on the same day. Figure out what the differences are, and you want to force the QFloors balances to match your old system balances. Okay, that's how you do your GL conversion. It's very important that you do that. The reason you want to do that too is you want QFloors to be your the authority of what your financial statements are, not your accountant. We want you guys to be generating monthly financial statements from QFloors, and you can do that with just a few of these simple steps that I was talking about. Do a GL conversion, get that done to get your beginning balances in, close periods, do period ending procedures, and all of those things, and it will keep your finances straight. Okay, questions?
Oh, there's a question, but I think they're gonna contact support.
Oh yeah,
So.
there was one question about what if my balance sheet is off by a penny or my trial balance is off by 1 cent. Yeah, just get with support, and we have to be the ones that find those and fix those problems. Okay, we can do that. All right. So we have gone an hour, which is kind of our goal, is to try to keep these to an hour. If you have other questions about any of these things that we went over, let's see, there's one right there. Can you go over, what was that, multiple
Invoices. the deposit screen.
Okay. So, say that question again.
Can you go over the multiple invoices in the deposit screen again?
Okay. So multiple invoices in the product in the checkbook window or the payment
deposit screen.
The deposit screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing to know about multiple payments in the deposit screen is how to effectively put in the payments in the first place to get those multiples. Okay. The way to do that, that's the hard part, is to come to the sales order screen. You go to payment, and then you go to all sales. Okay. And this only happens when a particular customer has multiple sales orders that they're making payments to you on. Okay. And this is where that is found. If they do have multiple invoices to be paid, they'll be listed here. Okay. And so you got to do this part right first in order for the checkbook part to be easy on the back end. Okay. I don't have any examples for you, so I would say call our support department and have them show you how to do that, both on the sales order side and then on the checkbook side. It's very nice and helpful too if you actually call them when you have a real life example, so that they can help you in your own database in showing you that example. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thanks for coming. Appreciate everyone being here, and Happy New Year. And hopefully it's a much better year than we had this time. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.